All right, welcome back, everybody. We are very, very lucky today to have a special guest in Jacqui from Silversea, who's the BDM in Queensland and Northern New South Wales up here. And she's given us some of her time today to share what's been happening in the world of Silversea and for her personally over the last few months. And no doubt there's plenty of people out there that know who you are, Jacqui, but for those that don't, how about you start us off with a little bit of your backstory and how you got into the industry and then eventually ended up in the space of, Silversea and where you are now.
Thanks, Josh. I just first of all want to say thank you for all the work you're doing. I think you're doing a really great job and I'm loving these interviews. And that's why I wanted to come and be part of it. For me, I've been in the industry for 23 years. I knew I wanted to be in the travel industry when I was about 12 years old. My mum was going through a bit of a hippie stage in her life, I think, and she bought a a little farm with 5 acres in a place called Tarraganda near Bega on the south coast. And it was a bit of a crazy farm. We were all girls, and we had 6 dogs, 6 cats. We had a goat called Elvis and a sheep called Wooly that used to chase cars, and it was crazy. We had 2 cows called Marmaduke and Murgatroyd. It was a crazy place. But so I was a little freckle-faced country bumpkin on a farm, and my mum's best friend, who's my godmother, she worked for Qantas, and she used to come and visit us on the farm, and she just turned up in these beautiful designer suits, and she always looked glam, and she'd always been to these amazing places, and she brought me dolls from all different countries around the world, and I just kind of thought I want to be her. So I knew then. So I finished school and I went and did my advanced diploma in travel and tourism. Back in the day when you did fares and ticketing and they had those big thick books. I've still got those books. I don't think I've ever used them, but I still got them. And I went to Sydney when I was about 18, and my Auntie Dee, my godmother, helped me get a job, and I worked for a company called PITC, Pacific and International Travel Company, and they were really in their heyday back then. That was a great training ground. So I did a couple of years in retail for them. I did wholesale reservations, product and marketing, and we had a cruise manager, Steve Lloyd, who started Cruise Co, who was the cruise manager there, and that's kind of where I started working with him, and I found that I really loved cruise. So I worked in sales. They did a lot of really fantastic incentives back then. So they had a incentive thing called the $1 Million Round Table, and every time you wrote $1 million worth of business, you joined the club and got extra things. So we did things like we flew business class Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong for dinner. We had dinner with some industry greats, like we had dinner one night with Screw Turner and his wife at Level 42 in Sydney, Serena Bratton and Jacqui Foggett, cruise icons. We had lunch with them. So, and then every time we wrote more business, we were given a couple of nights accommodation in different destinations, and we were allowed to add it up. I had about a month's worth of accommodation owing, and I was able to take, well, I took a year, but I was away for 2, but I took a year's leave without pay. And I went and travelled in Europe, did my working holiday thing, but I had the first month almost paid from my incentives. So it was really cool. So I did that, came back from Europe, and I went back to PITC, but they had rebranded and they were called Tal Pacific Holidays. And I was there as a rep on the road in New South Wales and also in Queensland. And then I started to kind of gravitate to cruise. So I got a job at world's leading cruise lines, which then represented Cunard, Seabourn, Costa and Carnival. So I was inside sales with them, and then they merged with P&O and Princess. So I went across as a BDM when they had all the complete cruise solution, had all the brands under one umbrella. So it was P&O, Princess, Cunard, Seabourn, Costa, P&O UK. I was there for a while, and then I decided I had a bit of I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So I decided to go work on a cruise ship in my 30s. And I partied like I was in my 20s. Did a couple of contracts at sea as a captain circle host with Princess. And then I came back and I was in Brisbane and I worked for GlobeNet Travel as a BDM, sourcing group and conference business for them. I was there for a couple of years. Then I left the industry for 4 years and I went to work for a designer eyewear company. And I sold some really good brands, Oriton, Sass & Bide, Karamorka, went into optometrists and fashion stores. It was really fun job. But it got to the end of the 4th year and I was like, they brought out their new release and I was just like, oh my God, they look the same as last year's. I can't do this anymore. I have to go back to travel where it's changing and everything's different and, you know, so yeah, I did a couple of things and now I'm at Silversea and I've been with Silversea for 3.5 years. And yeah, I'm loving it. It's such a beautiful product to represent and yeah, I've been really lucky in my years of working in travel.
Wow, what a journey. My hippie parents took us to the Blue Mountains of Sydney, and we lived out in the bush in a little log cabin that didn't have any electricity or running water.
Ours was a log cabin too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how good was that? And yeah, probably, I don't know, that was probably mid-80s or something like that. So I guess my parents were probably still trying to hang on to their hippie dream as well. It's yeah, and you know, again, it's interesting because everyone we speak to has a different story of what sparks that interest in getting into the game and getting into travel, and that's really unique one to be sitting on a farm and seeing somebody turn up in that, you know, designer suit, you know, working for Qantas as the reason. And it sounds like you did a lot of traveling after you'd already been in the game for a little bit after, you know, working early days in those travel agencies.
Those early days of travel, I mean, I think I just came into it at the end of when things were pretty amazing and, you know, the meals were everywhere and they were all free and, you know, and everything was laid on when you did these meals and it was, yeah, it was good days.
And how's the last few months been for you, sort of personally working through this, you know, going from being a roadie or road warrior or whatever people like to call reps these days, you know, to working from home and kind of self-isolation and all the things that we've had to go through?
Yeah, well, Groundhog Day is what I call it. The alarm goes off and it's the same again. But I have no problems with working from home. You know, I'm set up, I've got my office here. I work from home anyway and deal with head office by webinars and things like that. And I'm used to being on my own, you know, on the road in the car or in my home office. But in my usual job, no 2 days are the same. You know, I'm out there and I'm, you know, might be organising events, might be checking out venues, I might be presenting an event, expos, ship tours, training, regional, whatever, you know, I'm always traveling. And actually I remember in October last year, I remember just thinking I'd just done a couple of weeks of ridiculous hours and I'd been working every night and getting up early in the mornings and doing weekends. I'm just thinking, oh my God, I just want some routine in my life. And I can tell you, I've had routine since March and I'm over it. And I want to go back to the craziness. But yeah, so I struggled a little bit with that, with just kind of being home and every day being the same. But might change it up a bit. You know, sometimes I sit in the office, I'll go mess up my dining room, maybe go out in the paddock. I actually toyed with the idea of sitting outside, but I thought maybe my banner might fall and, you know, gust of wind and hit me in the head, and that would be a bit embarrassing. So I didn't do that one.
Well, just disclaimer for people that are wondering what's going on here. There are cleaners in my house at the moment. We've decided to bring back the cleaner because apparently I'm so busy now. So I told my wife that we should bring the cleaners back in because I got sick of mopping the floors. But yeah, being outside is nice at this time of the year up here in sunny Queensland. I think it's 25 degrees or something today. Pretty tough to deal with winter-wise. Yeah,
no, it is. But on a positive note for me, I think it's been really good having some extra family time. I've got a 5-year-old in prep, so we did the whole homeschooling thing a couple of weeks ago. So, and I really enjoyed just being able to spend the time and you know, sit down with him. And well, the first week I actually thought, you know what, if this travel gig doesn't work out, I'm really loving this. I think maybe I'll go to uni and be a teacher. But by the
end of the only one that thought that. In the whole of Australia.
Week, I was like, yeah, you can go back to school now. I've had enough. And, you know, you start doing that. Would you speak to a teacher like that? You know, we had those kind of conversations. So, but yeah, no, that was nice to have the time. And I think it's nice too, just personally working from home, and a lot of the agents are working from home as well. So, you know, you have those stupid little things happen, like, you know, dogs and kids, and the doorbell rings, or the neighbour decides to whip a snipper out your window when you're delivering news about a cancellation or something like that. But, you know, had somebody who it makes you laugh and encourages you to kind of talk more on a personal level. And I feel like I've kind of made some stronger relationships or friendships throughout this, just talking to people on a personal level. So yeah, that's been nice.
And what about the team in Australia, the Silversea's team? Are you all working full time, or has there been reduced hours or days, or what's happening in the actual work world?
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster. We're all working 4 days a week, and actually from the 1st of July, the sales team are going back to 3 days a week. So just for a couple of months until we know that cruise is going to go again. But yeah, so the whole Sydney office are working from home 4 days. So, and I think over the last couple of months, as we all have, I think it's been a series of emotions. I know back in March, you know, just when it all started to unfold, it was just shock and disbelief that all this is happening. Actually, I remember having conversations with an agent in February, and one of her clients was watching the news and they wanted to cancel their Alaska cruise. And I was just like, what are you worried about? It's this little disease in China, it's fine. and then all of a sudden this happened. So yeah, it was really crazy and really quite stressful in March, I think, because we had people on ships and the borders were closing and ships were not able to get into ports, and they were on the ship a lot longer than they should have been. And so it was, you know, quite stressful dealing with, you know, trying to help the agents to communicate with the clients and trying to get the clients home. But then when we knew that we got all the Australian guests home, it was just like, I was really, really proud to represent a company that had, you know, really, really looked after their guests. And I've heard that from my agents and from guests, just that were on board. You know, our crew, obviously it would have been a bit of a, for the guests on board, they're hearing media reports that all these borders are closing and they don't know if they're going to get home. And then the crew are probably concerned too about getting home to see their families. So it would have been a bit of a stressful environment. But I've just heard stories of where crew members have, you know, just telling jokes or doing magic tricks or putting on a bit of extra entertainment to lighten the mood. You know, our captains calling suites directly to speak to guests and just do health checks and make sure they're okay. And then the logistics of getting everyone home. We do a lot of fly cruise product. So, you know, our ground crew just rebooking all the flights, just like all the agents out there, rebooking all the flights and accommodation. And, you know, we chartered flights to get people home, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, the feedback has just been phenomenal. So I'm just so proud to represent a company that, you know, just took so much care in what they did. We've been kept pretty up to date with what's happening. You know, lines have been really good. Our MD, well, he's our former MD now, Adam Armstrong. He left the business a couple of weeks ago, and we now have a new Adam Radwanski. He's just started. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard for them on an executive level as well, because they did keep the communication lines open, but they don't know either. No one kind of knows what was going to happen. So yeah, that was good. And I mean, Adam's famous line was always, he'd explain what was happening and then he'd always say, we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. I just, you know, I love that. And then we moved into the processing stage, like everyone did, with the thousands of refunds that were coming through and cancellations and all that. And that was obviously a nightmare, as it has been for every supplier. You know, offices closed and everyone working from home, so it's a little bit slower. We're a relatively small team anyway. I mean, we have 2 people in accounts in Sydney, and all of a sudden, every single booking that we've done is coming across their desk. So yeah, but it's just been all hands on deck. Everyone, all different departments have been jumping in and helping each other, which is good. Sales have been helping Res, and I've just been trying to, you know, be available for my agents so they can call, or I've been calling out and just making sure they're across our policies, just kind of streamline the procedure a little bit. And I think for us in sales as well, it's been a little bit soul destroying. We're on the coalface, we're out there, we're organising the events, we're doing the events, we meet a lot of these people, these clients, and we know how hard the agents have worked to get this business. We know their stories, and when I see some of the cancellation lists hit my desk, I just feel sick when I see the names come up. I think, oh God, we did so much work on that booking, you know, but yeah, I mean, we're getting there. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's turning around. We're getting better at what we do. We're automating our future cruise credits now. So as soon as the cruise is cancelled, the future cruise credit gets issued immediately. Obviously, refunds are a bit different. They're harder, and you know, we just want to get them out as quickly as we can. But obviously, that's a process. But yeah, definitely light at the end of the tunnel. And like, we had a conference call this morning, and I did. I kind of said to the team, I feel like I'm starting to do my job again. I feel like I'm doing some salesy things. Like, you know, I'm getting some requests for people that want content for EDMs, and I've done a few webinars and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming.
And what is Silversea looking at the moment? What are you working on? What's the topics that you guys are discussing, you know, given that you have gone through this sort of stages that everybody else has as well, and you're probably still in a bit of a cancellation rebooking stage, but if there is a section of that sales call or that conference call that you're having with your teams and with your head office, what are the conversations around the sort of the future, or the 2021 planning, or the exciting stuff that we can get a little bit excited about, I guess?
Yeah, look, it's all systems go. Like, the future is bright. I feel like I need to do a Tom Cruise now and jump on the couch or something. But there's been lots of stuff happening this week. And last week we actually took delivery of a brand new ship. We had plans to launch 2 new ships this year anyway. Last week our executives flew to Rotterdam. The ship was built in a shipyard in Rotterdam, and they did an amazing job to complete a new build during this time. And she's a beautiful small ship, 100 passengers. She's designed to look like a private yacht, and she's going to be based in the Galapagos year round. So she's been launched on time, and she'll be on her way to the Galapagos pretty soon to start cruising there when we open up again. I've got lots of videos and information on that I'll pass on to you to share with everyone listening. But yeah, I think it's a really good news story for the industry. I mean, there's been so much bad media out there, and if we can, you know, shout this from the rooftops, you know, we're not going anywhere. We've just launched a new ship. We're here to stay. So. And
speaking of 100-person ships, or, you know, the small ship industry in itself, how do you see, you know, that collectively, Silversea and all of your friends that play in a similar space? You know, how do you see that as a sector of the industry that, you know, is going to be able to recover? Is going to be able to recover quicker? You know, what are the challenges that you see there, and is it something that you feel really confident that small ship is going to come out of this, you know, relatively, hopefully, as unscathed as possible?
Yeah, look, small ship cruising was on the rise before anyway. I read somewhere the other day that there's 32 new expedition ships being built from different suppliers in the next couple of years. I mean, that's crazy, but exciting. I mean, our Silversea guests are, you know, traditionally pretty well travelled, and they're looking for new destinations, and they want to do it. We call them luxury base camps, I guess. And I don't think that's going to change. I'm on some social media pages where our passengers are talking and just watching what they're saying, and they all just can't wait to go. So, you know, I really don't think that's going to change. I think, you know, in less touristy places, and they probably won't be less touristy when more people start going there, but, you know, we go to iconic destinations that a lot of kind of off the beaten track as well, but those less touristy places probably going to be more popular. Smaller ships, obviously with less people, are going to be more appealing to people, and I think ships with a higher space ratio per passenger, just for social distancing and health reasons. So yeah, no, I think it's the way of the future. Definitely, small ships are going to be more and more popular.
Yeah, I think that's as you said, that the space to passenger ratio, I think, will probably be a new catchphrase or a new part of the language that we start to use, because I guess, you know, crew to passenger ratio was probably, you know, something that was, you know, heavily talked about over the years, and if that was one of your CVPs as a company, you were probably talking about that a lot. But I reckon this passenger space ratio is going to be a new question that customers may be asking, and I guess for the agents out there, you know, that's probably something that they need to start versing themselves in across the different products, and being able to know how to find that information out so that they can provide that to their customers.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely the way moving forward.
and health security in general, I guess, is the other question. Is that, you know, what does that look like on a Silversea ship? You know, have you guys started to think about, you know, certain new procedures that you'll be bringing into the ships? I mean, we know that cruise ships and small ship cruises that are always been very, very heavily focused on hygiene and focused on cleanliness and all of those things. We know that. But I guess to create consumer confidence, we know that there's going to have to be some conversation or at least some proactive discussion about what's new. You know, we're doing this as well, and this as well, and this as well. What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we've always, and I think all of the cruise lines have excellent health and hygiene. I don't think I've ever been on a cruise ship for a couple of hours and not seen someone cleaning, somewhere. But yeah, I mean, we have excellent health and hygiene anyway. I actually went on a cruise out of Sydney in March, and when we boarded, we had to fill in a health questionnaire. And then we had our temperature taken, and then we were interviewed by a nurse who, kind of checked us out and asked us all these questions before we could even board. So that was happening in March, just when this was all starting to unfold. But I think those kind of things will continue. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some technology, to detect illnesses on ships. I know they're working on some things. We haven't officially released anything yet. I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Our parent company, you probably know, we're part of the Royal Caribbean group now. They own 67% of Silversea. So I know that Royal Caribbean have the best of the best, working in conjunction with the, what are they called? The Centre for the Centre of Disease Control in the US. They're working, and when they set out some guidelines, I think we'll put out our guidelines around what they say. So it's coming. I know it's coming, and it'll be here soon. But yeah, it'll definitely look different. It's just all, to keep everyone safe and able to go on our cruise.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the agents out there, what sort of advice do you have for them at the moment? Do Silversea have some training programs or some modules or some things, resources, stuff that they should be looking at, or if they do find some downtime to get themselves versed in the product a little bit more, ready to start taking those bookings as we're starting to see them come in?
Yeah, we have a platform called My Silversea, which is our cruise personalizer. On there, we have a Silversea Academy, so agents can go on and do different modules, which will earn them clear points. So they can do that already. We're just about to launch. We've had it before, a marketing platform called Marketing Central. But it's been refreshed and updated, and it's got a lot more information in there. So that'll be where we house all of our marketing collateral. We'll have, agents will be able to design their own flyers to promote different sailings, videos, press releases, social media tiles, all that stuff will be on there. So we're going to launch that pretty soon. So definitely that's a good platform. I would definitely say talk to your BDMs, like give me a call. I'm happy to chat, and I do have a bit of time now, so I'm happy to kind of run through whatever you need, and I'm sure the other BDMs in the other states think exactly the same way. My biggest advice though to agents out there, and I've been doing it with my agents, but I just think just keep in touch with your database. I just think it's so important right now to just talk to them, and share these stories, new ships, new itineraries, all of the great things. I mean, I watched Sonia yesterday and Mel Clout the other day as well, and they have some great stories of some really, I've heard stories from my agents about all the fantastic things that they've done. Let's get these stories out to the consumers and build confidence in our industry. It's just so important that we do that and we keep in touch with that. Even if you're not selling, it's just talking to them and sharing stories. Because at the end of the day, I think, when this all does come back, and we're starting to trickle some new bookings now, I think, it's going to be from people that know you and they know product. They're going to go back to the product they know. So that's going to be the easiest bookings that we get, is people that already know us. So we just need to really keep talking to them and keep in touch. And yeah, I think that's really important. And obviously what you're doing, I just think, tell everyone, get onto that Travel EDJO site. A one-stop shop for suppliers. That's what a great tool. So definitely I would be encouraging agents to get onto there as well.
Thanks for the plug.
No worries.
But I agree. I agree in the trust and confidence, and that'll come from connection. So you pick up the phone, you reconnect with your customer, you talk about products that they're already confident in, they already know. If they've already done it, they're repeat clients of those products. You know, you talk to them about it, you let them know, you know, and then you create some trust and confidence, and hopefully we can get people moving again. So, you know, we've had that, you know, that's a very common, I guess, advice across the board, is that real connection with your database, your travel community, keep in touch with your people, picking up the phone and actually speaking to them, and getting that connection back again. Because, you know, social media and all the things that we do, and put up posts and inspirational videos and those, it's great, but there's nothing better than that connection that you get from actually picking up the phone. And as you said, pick up the phone and speak to your BDM, you know, sending them an email or seeing the Facebook group or whatever, that's okay. But really, you know, if you want to get connected and you want to get updated, and we know how much, especially in that luxury small ship cruise space, how much you guys really help get a lot of those bookings over the line with agents, and help them really sell, you know, sell those, you know, cruises, and getting people into those cabins. So my advice, you know, you touched on it, but I guess you didn't want to harp on it too much. But my advice to agents out there is to actually pick up the phone and speak to your reps, and you know, reconnect with them, and make sure that you've got that relationship going again, so that when it's time, when you call up Jacqui and say, hey, I've got some customers that are on the fence, can you help me get them over the line? You know, that's not the first time that they've spoken to you. You know, oh, you call me now. Call me now because you need something. You know.
No. But yeah, no, I'd love to talk to, you know, obviously I keep in touch with all the agents that, you know, are already booking us and that are already part of my database. And I've tried to kind of step outside that a little bit as well. But, you know, yeah, call me. Also, I just wanted to add as well, I think, don't be scared about international. I mean, right now, I know we're closed, our borders are closed, and, you know, and we're all talking close to home, and we've got some great options close to home. You know, we've got Kimberley's, we've got the Silver Muse coming down around Australia, New Zealand, sub-Antarctics, all those great things. But we just launched our new season itineraries for the end of 21-22, and some of the inquiries that are coming through, I'm being really surprised. You know, World Cruise, Northwest Passage, a lot of Europe coming through. So so don't be scared of international, I think is a really, I think, just a bit of advice as well.
It's always been a long process to book, you know, cruising and small ship cruising. You know, most people are booking well in advance anyway. So nothing's going to change there. You know, it is sometimes a 12 or an 18-month process. So, you know, yes, agents will need to be looking at some close to home stuff to get some income and get some stuff trickling through and get people moving. But if you know, remove that, the future, you would never have done that 6 months ago. Is you know, block yourself off from a possible 12-month or 18 months future booking. No, exactly. You'd never have done that. So now's the time, if you can, to start thinking about that whilst it's out there. So I agree.
Yeah, well, you know, apparently they're working on a vaccine in Europe, and you know, hopefully that all works out. I think they've done a couple of trials now. So, you know, end of 2021, the world will be back to normal. We hope.
It's the plan. And before we let you go, is there anyone else that you can think of that, you know, may want to share their story or jump on and give us a bit of their time and updates on what's happening in their world?
Yes, so I would like to nominate Sharon Hando, Shaz from TTW, to jump on and have a chat. And also, I don't know if you've heard, I haven't heard from UniWorld. So Shelley Martin.
Yep.
Or Shelley and Alice, maybe. If yeah, I think they could jump on and share some stories. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one TTC we haven't had on yet, but yeah, absolutely. We can get all of them on. And I actually spoke to Sharon this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she's coming on next week, I think. Anyway, so. We'll still tag her in the post. She's been nominated a couple of times, so we've tied her down, which is good, and she no doubt gives a really good update and have a chat about Virgin and what's happening in that space as well, which is really exciting. So, so yeah, look, mate, thanks so much for jumping on today. You know, it's great to hear what's been happening in your world and in the Silversea world, and hear your story about how you got into travel. I think that was really interesting as well, and you know, I look forward to catching up on the other side, face to face, and you know. Good luck with the next few months. And as you said, there's the light that's there now. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's just keep moving towards that. And hopefully we can all just get back into this game as quick as we possibly can.
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much, Josh. And yeah, as I said, thanks for everything you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Pleasure. No worries. Talk soon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.